Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, and welcome to the two-thirds of the way through the year Columbia Crew Fantasy Football videocast, coming to you live from Towson, Maryland, being joined by my buddy Graham King from Sarasota, Florida. Graham, how are you?
Things are good. Got Italian food in my belly, glass of wine or two in my stomach. I'm
Ooh,
good. I'm feeling
that's
good.
nice.
Yeah.
I had sushi tonight.
Oh man, nice.
It was good. It was good. No wine though. But we've got 3 games left, Graham, in the regular season, and there's a lot on the line coming up in the next 3 weeks. A lot's going to be determined about playoffs and who's going to be vying for a championship.
Yeah, and I'm making my prediction right now. I'm putting Captain 5-0 Sargent is going to take that number one seed. I think he's
Ooh,
got. I think he's tied, right? So not a stretch to say that.
right.
But I really like I like his team. I mean, I like who he's got on there. Josh Allen, Kenneth Walker, we'll talk about later. Um, he's got Jeff Wilson, who we'll talk about later as well. He's just got a good
Right.
thing. He's got Rashad White, who's the running back for Tampa, who might start getting some playing time.
Right.
They don't go well, so he's got a good squad. He pays attention.
Yeah.
That's a key in our league, right? Got to pay attention, see what's going on. But I like his team a lot, and I think looking at his schedule, I think the other part I looked at here was Buck Nasty's schedule. He's got you this week, and then Coach
Yep.
Roach, and then Lenny. So it's guys who are all 6 and 5 ish, right? So nobody who is like, he's not playing the top seeds, but he also is not getting a free ride with the Miller
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, he's Sarge always surprises me because for a guy that almost fell through the glass during the draft and seemed a little
Almost,
bit out of it during the selection process in many more ways than one. This is a guy that like really stays on top of the waiver wire through the season. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I mean, just the fact that he's got Jeff Wilson, he's picked up some really good guys. Like he didn't start off with Ramondre Stevenson.
No, I think he might have drafted him, or he got him. He got him early. It was early. Whatever it was early.
Yeah.
Um,
Ramondre is like top 10. I think he like rounds out the top 10 in running back points right
yeah.
now. So
Well, no, he's also number one because the guy that I had, the number one guy, is now injured. So now Ramondre is a top back. So
yeah,
that's
yeah, for the Patriots for sure.
yeah.
And he catches the ball better than another guy. What's the other guy's name? Harris.
Damian Harris. Yeah,
Damian Harris, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Catches the ball better than Damian anyway. Damian's more of a running back. And then just the fact that he picked up Kenneth Walker. I mean, Sarge has done well for himself. He's got a good, solid team. There's nothing. All right. I'll say one more thing. The TJ Hawkinson pickup. TJ goes to
yeah, yeah,
Minnesota. He's getting like 13 targets a game. I mean, that was savvy too. So he's done really well, man. He's got a well-rounded team.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
don't blame you for that pick. And right now, I mean, Hammond's also got a really good team. He's tied for first, but Hammond's got to deal with Eric Graham.
Yeah,
He's got to deal with you, and he's
yep,
got to deal with me to keep that number one
yeah,
slot. And it's like, I feel like I'm a cornered animal right now, man. I'm
yeah,
fighting. If I take a couple wrong steps here, I can miss the playoffs. So I'm gonna
yeah.
put everything into winning these games. So
Well,
Hammond doesn't have an easy go of it, man.
yeah. So I actually have Scorp Speed and my number two seed, and I have Hammond going third. I project myself as fourth, you fifth, Cretan sixth. So I don't see anyone moving up. I don't see Lenny moving up. And that's pretty much it, right? So I don't see
Okay,
anyone
so
else.
are you saying that the business who started off super hot, like 5-1 at the beginning of the season, he's going to miss the playoffs this year?
It's playoffs. Yep. Yeah.
And when I looked at Coach Roach's schedule, he's got the easiest last 3 weeks. I mean, he gets to play Miller and Ski 2 out of the 3 weeks to make this push for the playoffs. Do you think he's still going to miss it?
Yeah. I think that there's going to be um, I think it's either going to be dropping somebody he shouldn't have dropped, running out of moves, overthinking it somehow, and that does him in somehow. I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. If it were me, I'll push back a little bit. I agree with you. I think Sarge is going to be up there. I think Hammond will drop to either the second or third. Scorp Speed's got a great team. I think you and I are going to be around that fourth, fifth position. The question is going to be who's going to slip into the sixth spot. And man, it's tough. Craig's been on a great run. I'm kind of pulling for Craig just because he started off so rough,
Yeah.
and he's gone 5 in a row now. So I'm kind of pulling for Craig, but I wouldn't be it for Lenny. It's really going to depend. Like we said in the last podcast, his 3 guys have to hit. He's like a hit or miss team. Like if
Yeah.
his guys don't go off, if Lamar throws up a couple 60 pointers, Eckler catches 10 balls a game, and his big 3 go off, then Josh Jacobs needs to come back strong for him again. He's got Travis Kelce. I mean, if things hit for Lenny, he's got a great high ceiling, but it
Yeah.
just hasn't been happening. And Lamar, the problem with Lamar is he'll give you some 35-point games,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
it just sucks.
And that's going back looking at Roach's team. He doesn't have a lot of ceiling guys.
Right.
You know, like his high points for the year were against you, 250. He's thrown up a lot of average games, and I think that's what I look at this. He can easily give you a 190, and that's not going to win lots of times, right? So I feel like looking at Lenny's got guys, he can put up some points.
Yeah.
If Kelce goes off, it's like, well, shit, there's 40 points out of Kelce. I don't want to see that in Roach's team.
Well, we get a good lineup this week because Craig and Lenny get to throw it down. So it's kind of like, all right, who deserves it? Who deserves the playoff spot?
Yeah.
If it's going to be between these 2 teams, Craig, is the run over? Are you finally coming up against something that you can't beat? Or is Lenny going to just show us, hey, I started off strong, but I'm fading at the wrong time? It's Craig's year.
Yep.
All right,
and it coincided with fishing season being over. It's amazing how once the fishing season was over, Craig started winning. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start doing hockey fantasy instead. Give him some time.
Yeah, I think it's a little more than just coincidence there, but and Craig's made some savvy moves too. Like everyone's been watching the waivers, man. The waivers are pointless right now. I mean, there's nothing out there, dude.
Yeah,
running back,
yeah.
tight end. There,
Yeah.
I did throw Ski like a hint. I think the tight end for Arizona right now, he's a rookie, Mackey Award winner from last year. Only caught like 3 balls last week, but with Ertz out for Arizona, like if I was dead at tight end, I'd grab this dude for Arizona. So I'm just throwing out a little bone there for people to check out. But otherwise, it's really hard to find anyone out there that's worth it.
Well, and I'll tell you that speaking of that, the tight end is really a position that dropped off significantly this year. Like, especially with the amount of talent that we had, tight end has been a talented position. It just hasn't been something that's taken off this year. We have Andrews got hurt.
Yep.
And so that's been there. And of course, you've got Kelce, but like across the board, just the tight end position has not been taken off. And I'm not sure if that's because quarterback play has been weak. I'm not sure if that's the defenses are not letting that thing happen.
Yeah.
But the tight end position has just not been.
No, it hasn't been good. It's there's been a lot of injuries. Ertz is out, Goddard's out. And the guys that kind of make up the middle of the pile, Pitts is out. Pitts just got hurt. Not that he was lighting the world on fire, but like a lot of the big names they're not even playing right now. They're on IR. So it's pretty thin, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yes, I mean, the bubble here. The bubble is we're looking at really comes down to it's Lenny, Coach Roach, and look, me and you and Craig. I mean, like, if we miss something, we could be in looking at that 7 seed real fast.
Oh yeah, dude. Like I finish out with I got Sarge this week. I got Ski next week, which I hope will be helpful. And then I finished with Chris Hammond, man. So it's like I got to play Sarge and Hammond to finish out my last 3 games, the 2 guys at the top. I could very well miss it, dude. I could miss it, so it's going to be hard.
Think of the money you'll save on shipping if you have to keep the pink plate.
Yeah, that's really comforting.
Let's take a minute though. I know you wanted to talk about what the heck happened with Eric Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this guy showed up to the draft with a binder. I mean, this
dude was prepared.
He was as prepared as you could be for anybody.
I liked his draft.
Dave Sargent walked into an opposite machine, he would have walked out as Eric Miller, right? I mean, Sargent was like, "I'm gonna make this draft on some edibles and a couple beers," and Eric Miller had like everything, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Well, let's look at his draft. Because I really, when we left, I thought he had one of the best drafts,
Yeah,
as well he should have, as prepared as he was. So if I look at the team he drafted, why did I like it so much? So Miller, um, so at the time, his first pick was Najee Harris. He kind of, you know, hindsight's amazing because there was other running backs out there, but maybe I would have gone Swift there, but I'm glad I didn't because now Swift's not, he's like the third running back on the Lions. Really what he should have done there with hindsight is to pick Barkley, right?
sure, yeah,
Um,
but even that was a risky pick because it was like
yep.
an injury and everything else.
Yep. So you can't. So Najee seemed like a good pick. He's got Devonte Adams at number 2, who I think is playing well for him. DK Metcalf's had a weird. He's had a weirdly disappointing season in terms of just consistent points. I don't know why, because Seattle's playing pretty well. Chris Godwin's banged up. No one knew the Bucks were going to be as horrible as they were. Chris Godwin, when everyone's healthy and the Bucks are doing well, is a great player to have in round 4.
Yeah,
He's got Dallas Goedert, who's put up some good points. Then he got Deebo Samuel in the 6th round. He got Damian Pierce, which fired me up in the 7th round because that guy was lighting up the world in the preseason at running back. And then he's got a great defense. I mean, his defense almost single-handedly beat me when I played him last week, even though his offensive players didn't do much. But I thought he had a really great start through the 8 rounds with those offensive players,
And even picking up, like, if you look deep, like, Isaiah McKenzie, who's like the number 3 receiver out of Buffalo, which they throw a lot. He's got the handcuff out of Minnesota, and Madison.
Yeah.
I think the big thing with him was not keeping Josh Allen. I think that was the part that sent him sideways, because he had Trey Lance. And and Trey went down. And so by not having those 50-point, 60-point, 70-point games that you need sometimes, when everyone else shits the bed, right?
And let's be honest, even if Trey had stayed healthy, we don't know. Like, we don't know how good he would have been. Like, I'll be honest with you, I had some doubts about whether he was going to be able to be what everyone was hoping he was going to be. Like, it could have been, this could have been his really development year where he wasn't putting up all those points, So in a way, not picking the right players in your keeper selections before the season even started kind of sunk him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And it's funny as I think about that with, like, see some of these teams that, and this is, I go back into even who makes the playoffs. As much as wide receiver play is really big and everything else, if you have a quarterback that only gives you 40, like maybe 50, it's really tough to win. And then look at what Scorespeed's doing. He's got Patrick Mahomes, who, that guy just can put up 70 points in 3 quarters, right? And, you need to have those to carry the rest of your team. So the quarterback play, I think, is really, actually, it's important. It's
making
as important.
Up those 30 points is tough.
Yeah, it's as important as we thought wide receivers were. I think the quarterback position is actually, like, more important.
I agree. And it's not that we've put too much weight in scoring for the quarterbacks. We really haven't. The league's changed. Passing's at a premium. But there's really like 7 quarterbacks that have this kind of ceiling. And if you don't get one of the top 7, you better make up for it in another way, or you're really at a disadvantage. Yeah. And I felt that profoundly. Like, I think one of the reasons I've struggled the past month and a half is because Herbert's receivers weren't on the field and he had no one to throw to. And he's putting up 38 to 45 points. And I felt it, man. I really felt it, Yeah.
So he's supremely talented, but then who are you throwing to? Yeah. Right.
And and so you combine 38 points with like a bye, 3 guys on bye, and you're like, I'm done, dude.
Yeah. No, exactly. So then pickups. So we want to jump into like pickups for.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I think that we've all been there where you hook up with a girl and then you dump her, someone else hooks up with a girl, and then someone else hooks up, and then you're all hooked up with the same. Everyone's done the same girl. Everyone's just hooked up with her, and then eventually she blossoms, and she's like just amazing. And that, to me,
you're like, why didn't I hold on to her?
Yeah, and that is Pacheco out of Kansas City.
We've all
We've
had a
all
taste of Pacheco. Yeah.
we've all had that taste, and now with he's the starting running back. Edwards Hilar is injured reserved, and we're all like, why didn't I keep that guy?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
man, it's yeah, he gave me some shitty weeks, but now it's like, okay,
Yeah.
he's the guy.
I
So
feel that way about the receiver from Pittsburgh that I had. I think I drafted him actually, George Pickens. Like
George
he's got
Pickens,
such potential. I always draft guys like a year or two early. But it looks like now, I think these next 3 weeks, like Eric Graham ended up with him. He's starting him right now coming into this week, and I think he should be. Um, I'm looking at George. I'm like, why did I ever let you go, man?
yeah,
I miss you. You know,
yeah, because
I
he's
want you
he's
back.
supremely talented, but again, quarterback position, like who was throwing to him, um, and but if he gets if Pickett and Pickens become a thing, it could be 10 years in Pittsburgh, right? The Pickens Pittsburgh. It's gonna be hard things to say a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice combo. Now, it might not even happen next year. It might happen the year after, but it's going to be pretty special. And
Yeah,
I would strongly consider keeping him if I was Eric Graham.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but he's got Christian Watson on his team too.
Yeah,
He's got
he's
DeAndre
got
Swift.
some people.
Yeah,
I think another one as well, Jeff Wilson, who we talked about. Jeff Wilson, you know,
yeah,
talented, picked up, dropped, picked up, dropped, and now he's the man on a great offensive team in Miami, right?
yeah.
So that's
He put up some good points for me. I think I held him for about a month, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then when that trade happened, and he was sent to Miami, um, and my guy was going to Christian McCaffrey was going to San Fran. I was like, I don't need Jeff Wilson anymore. I don't need Jeff Wilson for. It's gonna take him a couple weeks to get up to speed. He's gonna be splitting time. And the first week in Miami, he takes 60% of the carries and blows up for like 22 points. I'm like, dude, what was I thinking?
yeah,
Another regret that I have personally is dropping Devin Singletary, although I have mixed emotions about it because Devin drives me crazy. But um, when they traded for Naheem Himes and Singletary's like, 1 week he gets me 4 points, 1 week he gets me 22. And then they get Naheem Hines. And I'm like, he's already splitting with this Cook rookie. I don't even want to deal with this, And then
yeah.
I drop him and then 2 weeks in a row, he blows up for Matt Jarowski. And it's like, it's those situations where it drives you nuts.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think that do you drop part of this is dropping, adding guys is when you drop them, that means someone else can get them. So it's almost like, can I keep them on my roster to prevent someone else from getting
Right.
them? Right. For instance, like I have now 2 kickers on my team, and I have Young Ho Kim or Young Ho Sue, whatever his name is, the Atlanta kicker, and then I have Seattle's kicker. So I've got 2 kickers. And I'm like, you know what? There'll be a point where someone's kicker sucks because kicking has really sucked a lot this year. And I'm gonna have 2 guys, one from me and one that someone else can't have.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I do the defensive pickups once in a while too. If I'm playing like an opponent that has a bye week, they need a quarterback. Sometimes I'll look and there's like a pretty decent one on the waiver. I'm like, I'm just gonna pick this guy up just to like make it a little harder for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, defense is the key to this.
Well, when I look at we always think of Roach with all the ads and drops and stuff, and there were some players that Roach dropped that he drafted. For example, I'm pretty sure. Let me go back to the draft. I think Roach drafted Ramondre Stevenson. I could be wrong about that, but let me look at it. Draft results. Roach teams. So when I look at Roach's draft, look at the players that he's parted with. So his 3rd-round pick, Mike Williams, he dropped. And Mike Williams was putting
No,
up.
he traded him to me, I believe.
Oh, that's right. He traded.
He dropped Devonta Smith, who I traded to him for Mike Williams.
That's right.
Which has turned out good for him because Mike Williams is now. I traded for Tyreek Hill, and he's also now injured again.
Right. Okay. And then he drafted Cordero Patterson, who he does not have on his team anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty sure he dropped him. And you said he dropped Devonta Smith, Philly receiver, right?
Yeah. He had no catches week 1. And it's like Philly put up like 40 points week 1. Like he's a number 2 receiver. The next week they're gonna double AJ
Yeah.
Brown and have him, and then
Yeah.
that week he did well. So
Yeah, you can't drop Devontae Smith, man. Not that early anyway,
yeah,
And
yeah,
Cordell Patterson, I kind of get it, but now I mean Cordell's blowing up for I think he's on Craig's team.
yeah, he's on Kirk's team, yeah. But you're
Um
reminded Stevenson, he was drafted by Roach.
yeah, eighth
Yeah,
round.
yeah,
And he's the
yeah,
10th best running back in our league right now in terms of fantasy points.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially knowing like things like this, like knowing that the Patriots have a bad quarterback play. So they're gonna have to lean on the running back,
Yep.
which means Ramonde and Damon Harris are gonna get lots of carries. Damon got hurt, and now it's Ramonde. And so that's the thing you have to think about. Okay, like these teams don't have other options. They're gonna go with the tried and true, which can be a running back or whatever they do, right? So I think that's knowing what the situations look like is obviously easier said than done. We've all done
Oh,
some
totally. Yeah. I mean, last year I made all these mistakes where I was dropping people and trading people because I was panicking. But yeah, and great. Ramondre's on Buck Nasty's team now. So it's just like yeah. So those are some examples. I think if Roach were here, he'd probably agree. It's like there's some guys where you drop them because they give you 2 or 3 bad weeks, and then you're like, why did I do that?
yeah.
So it's tough, man.
I think another one it's Kenneth Walker, the
Oh yeah.
third. I think we all knew he was going to be a beast, but the word out of Seattle was he's going to be this year is his learning year, and next year
Yep.
he'll be number one pick. But then injuries happen, and now he's number one guy. So he was drafted by Ham and Cheese, dropped
Yep.
even before anything happened. He was dropped in August, right? August he was dropped then, and then Sarge picked him up in October. So he went all of September with nobody picking him up.
Yeah, because Penny was doing well.
Yeah, Rashard Penny was killing it, and then now you look at his game log, and he's put up 16, 19, 35, 12, 29, 13, like on a team in Seattle that scores the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's going to be a great keeper too.
Yeah. So, and for with a team that we know that Pete Carroll loves having that top dog rusher.
Yeah.
That's sort of what we know with that.
And it kind of makes me sad for Breece Hall because he was another rookie running back that was just lighting the world on fire. It's just that's the problem with this fantasy football. You think you have the best draft, you're making all the right moves, but injuries can just totally derail you.
Oh yeah. And then I'll toot my own horn. I did pick up. I picked up Tua. He was a free agent.
That was a great grab.
Yeah, and I tried trading him to everybody, and nobody would bite.
I thought he was going to get another concussion, dude. I was like,
yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Like
when I saw him that wobble off the field like a newborn deer, this guy's done.
That's scary, dude.
I was like, if I were his family, I'd tell him, no more. You're done.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. But now they've changed
that offensive system down there. That offensive system is like amazing. That coach from Miami, amazing, dude.
Yeah. So I think that's the pickups. I think that's is really interesting. Like who does what. I think the other one I put. Yeah, I think that's what I had. I think those pickups were key. But how many people we've dropped? Like I said, people have. Kenneth Walker dropped, Rachaad White dropped.
Oh yeah, because the rookies take a while. Like you try to time it right, you pick them up. You're like, or let me see if they blow up in the next 2 weeks. And sometimes you're just off, and it depends on what your bench looks like and when you have the time to give these guys a try. And sometimes you just miss it, and you're like, I can't hold this guy forever. Yeah. And then 3 weeks later, now's his time. There's an injury, he gets in. Kenneth Walker blows up.
Yeah,
I think it was in the last podcast when I had Penny, and Penny was doing well. Of course, I didn't know Penny was going to get hurt a week later. But I think I even mentioned I was like, I could pick up Kenneth Walker just as a handcuff, but and it was like you just don't know, You don't know.
So funny. Yep.
All right, you want to talk keepers?
Keepers, yeah. So, looking through the league, I'll start with me first because I'll just, I know my team.
Yeah.
Like, I think I have this little sweet spot in my heart, or whatever you call, for Kadarius Toney. I mean, this guy has so much talent.
I know,
but he can't stay healthy. So that's one I think that I would look at for sure. But the other guy, I'm looking at here is probably Tua. I would probably say like if Tua can stay, I might keep a quarterback.
Yeah,
Tyreek's going to be there for a while, so I feel like Tyreek's got another year where they're going to blow up. So I would probably go Kadarius and Tua.
Treylon Burks is an option too.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, that's another one. Yeah, Treylon Burks was my other
See
receiver. I
how
would
he
have got.
finished. I mean, he just
Yeah,
threw up 100 yards
yeah,
in his first game back from injury. So we'll see
yeah,
how he finishes the year, but that could be tantalizing. They need a new quarterback down there, probably, I think.
yeah, yeah. Tannehill's
Um,
looking rusty. I think. And looking at you, I mean, what are you looking at?
yeah. So my team, I
Olave,
really
of
do,
course.
I've got Herbert for one more year, I think. But gosh, yeah.
Olave or Pacheco. I mean, it's tough because Pacheco plays in that such a diverse offense, but
Yeah.
Olave's got all the talent in the world.
I think Olave is probably one of the most talented rookie receivers in terms of just being pro ready that came into the league this year. And again, drafted by Maturowski, dropped by Maturowski. So thank you, Dave, for putting him out there. And he's really smooth. So he would definitely be at the top. I like Pacheco a lot. He does not catch any passes, which I don't love. That's why I never draft King Henry, because he just doesn't catch a lot. But um, I should draft King Henry because again, he's leading the league in rushing. But that's my problem with Pacheco, although I would consider him. Um, yeah,
Well, it's
it's
tough
tough,
because
man.
Herbert is like a number 15 pick for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's hard not to keep him, man.
yeah, yeah.
Especially with what we've just said about quarterbacks. But I like my team this year, man. As I look at it, I'm proud of it. I didn't go crazy. I didn't make any rash decisions. I basically kept my core. And everyone's healthy right now. There's no bye weeks. I have no excuses. The team is what I want it to be. If I don't make the playoffs, it's just because, I didn't make it. I mean, this is the team that I wanted. This is the team that I drafted. I'm happy with it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Let's go bottom up. We're gonna start with Miller.
Yeah.
So looking at the high life, um, he's probably gonna have thoughts on how to do this a little better next year. I think Damian Pierce will be one he looks at.
Yep.
Although it's a terrible team,
That's the problem.
yeah, so are they gonna get better next year?
Especially with running backs. Like if you want a player from a terrible team, you want it to be a receiver.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know what
Like
I mean?
they're gonna play, but after that, I don't see a lot. I don't think the Debo was drafted. Was he a keeper or was he
Yeah, I think he can keep Debo.
okay?
So it'd probably
But
be
even
Debo and Pierce.
but even that offense is not dynamic. That offense is just like, I mean, they have McCaffrey, Debo, and Kittle, like, and they have like three All Pro players at their position, and they have Garoppolo, who is just looks beautiful,
Yeah.
advertising some shit,
Yeah.
but man, that guy cannot throw the ball.
I'll tell you, last week was the first week I've seen where they looked in sync. He threw 4 touchdowns. He ran a little bit, he scrambled, he saw some guys open on when plays broke down. It was the first week last week where I thought he looked like a capable NFL quarterback. Now, next week he'll throw 2 picks and like lose the game because that's kind of his MO. But if they can put it together and he can just not make any dumb mistakes, they've got great weapons, man.
Yeah, and the NFC is weak. As we see the
Oh yeah.
fraudulent Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, it's not a good division, man. And
Yeah,
even the Eagles slip up against the Commanders last week, and
yeah,
the AFC is a much stronger
yeah,
conference.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. So yeah, let's who's next?
Cleveland Steamers skis team. Um, that's a tough one there. I mean, Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I think Terry goes back into the
Okay,
pool this year.
Andrews was a keeper, so he can keep Andrews again, which
Yep.
challenge because like he was injured this year. Does Baltimore even if Isaiah Likely or whatever his name is, if he comes around, do they say, you know what, hey, maybe we'll get rid of Andrews, save some money, and spend it on Lamar? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Mark Andrews is hard to let go though.
Yeah, he's just
When he's healthy, he's
such a
like I
talent.
think
Yeah,
he's a top 2.
yeah. So I think he keeps him, and then who else? I mean, like I wouldn't keep Kyler Murray. Kyler
No.
Murray. Yeah, so that's tough. I mean, I think and this is the thing with the guys who are at the bottom, they should be really thinking about next year. And yeah,
Yeah.
they have draft picks, and draft picks are good, but the keepers are really where you set the stage. So maybe dumping some of these guys like do you really want Latavius Murray? Why not dump Latavius Murray and pick up some running backs who might be, keeper next year? Looking at who was drafted the last year, the year before, I'm like, okay, well, or even
You could
Brees
pick up
Hall.
a James Cook.
Brees Hall, like, hey, I can pick him up,
right?
And hold on my team for that. So
that's a good call.
See what happens there.
Maybe
and
I
then
pick up Brees Hall.
What's yeah, right.
why isn't Brees Hall on my team right now?
That's right. We'll look at I guess we'll go to Lenny's team next, right? That's so that's the business. Who does he keep? Gosh, I mean, that's a tough one too. Cortland Sutton, Trevor Lawrence, Michael Carter.
Denver was so disappointing this year, man.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't know if Eckler was a top pick. You can't pick him. Lamar, does he want to keep Lamar? Like,
I think he's going to want to keep Garrett Wilson. And then and you know what? I don't know if I think he's got maybe 1 year left on CeeDee Lamb. I would keep CD, man.
Yeah. But Garrett Wilson, like, who's the quarterback in
I know that's the problem, but this dude, Garrett Wilson, man,
he's talented.
He's like second in terms of rookie receptions and yards and stuff. He's right behind Olave, and he's had no one to throw him the ball. I think he's special if he could just get a quarterback.
Yeah. And I think just talking about that, we talked last time. We talked a lot about that quarterback. Like, there's this, as you mentioned earlier, there's 7 good quarterbacks, and then it just falls off a cliff.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Joe Flacco could probably start for half the teams. I mean, if you put Joe Flacco in Houston, I mean, put Joe Flacco in Arizona. With all the weapons there with DeAndre Hopkins and what, yeah, I mean,
Flacco looked pretty good for the Jets this year when he played. Man,
got a big arm. Yeah,
better than the crap. I mean, they should have won last week, dude. If I was a Jets fan, I'd be so crushed right now. I mean, their defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense.
It reminds me of that one time when I think the Giants were playing the Eagles, and it was last play of the game, and the punter was supposed to punt the ball out of bounds and punted it to Deshaun Jackson, who took it to the house.
That guy broke a lot of hearts in his day, bro.
And the coach, Coughlin, for Coughlin, he grabbed the punter's face mask, like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, kick the ball out of bounds. There's no time left in the game. There's 8 seconds left. Ball would have gone out, game over. And Deshaun Jackson caught the ball, dropped it, picked it back up, and then ran it to the house.
That always seems to happen. There's something weird about when you drop it, it throws off the tacklers or something. It creates this weird space.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen running quarterbacks, they get the snap, they drop it, they look back up, and then they run straight up the middle for 50 yards. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Looking at Craig's team, I think that, gosh, who does he really keep here? Jamal Williams, can he even keep Jamal Williams? Jalen Hurts, that's probably who he would keep, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is as a quarterback doing great stuff.
Yeah, I think you got to keep Jalen.
I'm not sure where Jamal Williams was drafted. He was drafted by Coach Roach. Dropped, added. So yeah, he might keep him.
And he's dropped by Roach, and he's now leading the league in rushing touchdowns.
Sorry, Roach. If you're watching this,
Roach, we love you, brother.
Yeah. Suicide hotline is 1-800. But fuck, all this shit we give Roach, and he's still in the playoff hunt. I mean, that's the crazy thing about him. Is it fuck, he's
probably gonna win the trophy this year. So let's stop talking shit.
We give him all this shit, and he's like, oh yeah, the trophy in my backyard. I guess
if Carolina could get a quarterback, DJ Moore wouldn't be bad to keep either.
Yeah,
but who knows? But definitely Hurts.
We'll look at let's look at who's next here. Scorp. We'll look at me next. Well, I did me already. I guess it goes down. We'll go to Scorp Speed.
Yeah. And then ham and cheese.
Yeah, Pickens. I think I got to keep Pickens. Christian Watson. I mean, if he keeps Pickens and Watson, and one of those guys turns out to be the next number 1 receiver, he's looking pretty good. right? The problem is Pickens' quarterback situation is dicey.
Yeah. And we don't even know if Rodgers is going to be there in Green Bay.
Yeah, and so is Watson's, right? So it's like, what happens,
Yeah.
with this? So that's the challenge. I guess that's the part with these receivers.
I think Njoku's had kind of a renaissance at tight end in Cleveland this year. He's been a lot better than expected, and it's 3 weeks doesn't seem like a lot, but where we're going to be sitting 3 weeks from now, watching Deshaun Watson play quarterback in Cleveland, like we don't know what's going to happen. Like Njoku could have like 30-point games, and you're like, oh damn, him and Watson, like you know what I mean? These things can change your analysis, so it'll be interesting. Oh, Pollard. Got to keep Pollard, dude.
Yeah,
Zeke's not that. He's not the guy anymore, man.
yeah. Found out last year. We'll go to Buck Nasty. Gosh, who's he got? He's got his team looks nice. He's got to keep Kenneth Walker. I mean, that's
Yep.
one. And maybe does he keep like Rashad White for Tampa Bay? Because are they gonna lean back on?
Oh,
Like that's a nice two.
Lenny. Who knows what's going to happen with Lenny? Like
Yeah.
if we find out Lenny's not on the team halfway through the summer, then you think I'm keeping Rashad White, of course.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson wouldn't be a bad keep. TJ Hawkinson wouldn't be bad. He's got some options.
And this is what I just want to go back to these guys who were sitting in 10th and 9th place. You got to be thinking about next year. Like you have the draft picks, that's helpful, but you got to be getting these guys who could be.
Yeah, if you trade away your whole team for draft picks, you're not going to have anyone to keep.
Yeah. So you want to have a couple. You guys are picking some guys up. So if you're watching this, Ski and Miller, our advice is look at last year's top draft in the NFL draft and pick out some guys who might be players, right? So that's what I think. And then
Chris Hammond.
Hambone. Looking at his squad.
He can keep Burrow. He can keep Donovan Peoples-Jones. Like I said, we're going to see what he does with Watson at quarterback for the last 3 weeks. Or really it's not 3 weeks of the season. It's the last 7 weeks of the season, really. 3 weeks for us, regular season in the fantasy league. But Donovan Peoples-Jones could just go off with Watson at quarterback.
Yeah.
I would not keep Raheem Mostert. I would not keep Lenny Fournette. I would not keep Kareem Hunt. I would not keep Rondale Moore.
Can he keep Jamar Chase? Was it Jamar Chase?
I think he can. He might have 1 year, and he might be like a 6th rounder next year or something like that. I'm doing this all by memory. I think it's something like that. By the way, I think David Montgomery sucks.
Oh,
that's just my personal opinion. I watched a couple games with him. I think he's like a 3-yard fall straight forward type of guy. I don't think he has it anymore.
Yeah.
It's too bad that guy Herbert, his backup is hurt because that's just my impression. I would not want that guy on my team. But anyway.
Yes, that's what I mean. I think that, and this is why looking at Hambone's team, Hambone's team, I'm not impressed. I mean, he's been winning lots of games, but I don't look at this and go like, wow, man, that team looks dominant.
Yeah. I like Burrow. He'll throw up 70 points sometimes. I like Justin Jefferson, of course. Mike Evans, I don't know. Alan Lazard, I don't know. Nick Chubb, great. David Montgomery, horrible. Pat Freiermuth, every other week he'll give you 12. Peoples-Jones might be great in 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't know how he's at the top of the league. What's his overall points?
His points are high too. If you look at his points, he's got decent points. I don't think he's consistent week to week. I think he's at 2,500 points. He's leading the league in points.
Golly.
He's just consistently doing it. Like that's I think the biggest part with him is he just doesn't have any low weeks. You look at his low weeks, is like he had a 187 against Maturowski. He lost to Craig 236 to 293. Like Craig, just went boss on him.
Yeah.
And he lost to Sarge 208 to 249. So he's
Wow.
like, he doesn't, and he could, those are games. If you look at that week, he probably could have won four out of the games.
Yeah.
Right. So he's just been consistent on not having down weeks. I think that's a really big thing across this. So you can't have a week where you put up 180 or like I did last week, I put up 111 points. You have a week like that, like it doesn't matter how good your team is or how well your opponent's playing. If you put up 100 points, you're not beating anybody.
I'm looking at his all of his weeks, and while he will occasionally have the huge like 250 plus blow up, and he's done that like maybe 5 times, I don't think he's ever scored under 200 points. One time,
Week 2.
week 2.
Yeah. So that's just consistent. I mean, like he doesn't have guys that don't do well. Like
Yeah,
everyone's
he's
kind
got
of
guys with good floors, doesn't he?
yep.
He's got the floor team. Lenny's got the ceiling team. He's got the floor team.
Yep. I mean, when he played against me in week 3 or whatever it was, week 4, Jamar Chase put up 12, but Mike Evans put up 32. Jefferson put up 34. Nick Chubb put up 22. Burrow put up 47. So Burrow didn't put up a lot, but across the board, he had lots of guys taking off. So,
but 47 was Burrow's floor.
Yeah, exactly. Or like,
you know what I mean?
For Lamar, 35.
Lamar, like, yeah,
35 is Lamar's floor.
Yeah, because Lamar will be like, I'm only going to throw 8 passes today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to run for 150 yards, and that's going to give you 32 points. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to look awesome, and I'm going to win the game. We're going to win like 30-7, but I'm only going to give you 35 points. It drives me crazy, man.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Lamar, I think he would have thrown more, but his receivers they were thin anyway, and now they're banged up. So he doesn't have all, and when his tight end was out for a couple of weeks, that was the only thing that he really could do.
Apparently the stat is Lamar is second worst, only ahead of Zach Wilson in completion percentage over 20 yards.
Wow.
So he just can't get the ball downfield.
Yeah.
And so what happens, the defense is sitting on everything short. And, Duvernay is the only guy that can really go long.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson maybe, and Demarcus Robinson, but these guys aren't proven deep threats.
Well, it shows you how thin they are, the fact that they signed Deshaun.
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. I think we covered all of our I hope we didn't miss anyone. I don't think we did in terms of keepers.
Yeah, I think we got everybody.
Okay.
If we did, sorry, it's 9:30 and we're working on pre-Thanksgiving. So let's go over matchups this week. Across the board.
Because this is important, man. 3 weeks left. This first week of this last 3 weeks, this is huge. If you're trying to make the playoffs, dude.
Yeah.
We'll start with me, okay? Because it's all about me. I'm very, very nervous about my matchup against Buck Nasty. Very nervous about it, because if I lose, I'll be back at 500 and I'm going to drop down to like 5th or 6th place, and then I'm going to be very, very anxious. So if I were picking and I was not involved, I would probably pick Dave to win. I mean, I just got to say, I probably would if it was just completely an objective pick.
Yeah, I think looking at this, like Devontae is going at Seattle. That's tough to play on the road. DeAndre Hopkins, it's quarterback play. I think Kyler Murray might be out again.
That's true.
You've got Waddle going against a really bad Houston team. You've got St. Brown playing indoors against Buffalo, who is weak in the secondary. You got McCaffrey, Etienne against Baltimore. It's probably not going to be a great pick for you.
Right.
Baltimore's not able to run the ball.
I think his running backs definitely have better matchups than mine.
Yeah. So I mean, the projections are close. It's only a 7-point difference. I have to go with Dave on this one. I feel like he's going to go to 9-3.
And Josh Allen on Thanksgiving, why do I think he's just going to go off and throw 5 touchdowns just for a national audience and be eating like the turkey at the end of the game? And I'm just going to be like in tears and like be pissed at my family and treat everyone like crap, like at the Thanksgiving table, just because Josh Allen had a good day.
That's right.
And then later that night, I'll feel like, why am I such a horrible person? And I'll grab my daughter and be like, I'm sorry, Daddy was in a bad mood today.
That's right.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those days tomorrow. So
just there's a how you have a 529 account for like your future they should have one for the another like a 125 account for like future therapy sessions for your kids.
That's actually it might be a good business idea actually. Okay, so let's look at you. Or you're playing Cleveland Steamers. I would say you probably should be favored to win this game. Dave's traded away some of his best players. He's getting ready for next year. I'm not saying he's just quit. but I'm just saying, you should be favored.
He still has
Um,
like 222 is a good average for him. I mean, that's a decent average
yeah,
projected wise. Um, this for me, this is the team that I am going to ride or die to the playoffs. Right,
yeah,
I've got everything I want. I've got Tua and Tyreek Hill. I got Stephon Diggs. DK Metcalf is consistent. Not as we talked about before. He's not a high ceiling guy anymore.
right.
Sanders and Barkley, two guys are going to get a lot of the carries.
Yep.
I had to go with Knox from a tight end because Diggs
Yeah.
or Pitts is out. And I watched the Tennessee game. I watched Treylon Burks. I think he's a talent. It's just a matter of, is Tennessee going to throw the ball to him and not just give the ball to King Henry?
Right.
So
I like your team a lot. I think you're ready for the playoffs. I mean, let's be real, dude. You have Diggs and Hill. There, if you look at who's leading in skill position points in our league right now, as we sit here right now, top 1 and 2 player are Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. Okay. So just that right there, I think gives you an advantage. And I think it was a very savvy move. I think it was worth a second round pick next year to acquire Hill. I think it's going to take you at least to the semifinals if you can squeak into the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah. So I got to win some games to get to the playoffs.
Yep.
But I do think even if I don't make the playoffs, I think that my team will keep me from having a pink plate. I think that at the very least, I should avoid the pink plate.
All right, this game's interesting. Creatine and the business.
Yeah. This is a make or break. This is make or break, right? This is gonna be the one where you go like, hey, who's gonna take the next step and move forward?
We got the 2 running quarterbacks going against each other.
Yeah, gosh, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Craig's just been on a roller, on a ride, and Lenny's just fighting to survive. He's like drowning and drowning and drowning.
He's got Keenan Allen back though.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Lenny's got Keenan, and if Keenan can stay healthy, it looks like he got through last week healthy. That really helps his receiving core. I think Dallas, this is my personal opinion, I think Dallas is going to crush the Giants on Thanksgiving. And I think that CeeDee Lamb's going to go off because it's just like the big name guys, they love showing off on Thanksgiving, dude. That's why I'm a little worried about my matchup with Sarge. But I think CeeDee Lamb could go off if Keenan Allen has a good game. He's got Eckler, he's got Jacobs, he's got Kelsey. I think the business might hang on here, man. I think he's going to say, look, I'm not done yet. Cretin was a nice little run. It was cute, but big boys are going to the playoffs. That's what I think is going to happen.
All right. Well, he's favored by 20 some odd points. Right. So, Yahoo's predictions, we'll see how that looks. I'm going with Craig on this one.
Are you?
Yeah. I think Craig.
Why?
I think Craig. I feel like he's on this lucky streak, man. He's on a streak that shit's gonna keep going. I mean, looking at the team, I go, that's got to be Lenny, but I just feel like Craig's. When you look at his icon, that's a horseshoe going in his ass, not him shitting.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you're going to go with momentum and pick Craig.
Yeah.
The other really good matchup is Ham and Cheese and Scorp Speed. Now, if we're right and Ham and Cheese is overrated, we're going to find out this week.
Yeah, this is it. We'll see if his consistent floor can beat. Because Mahomes can give you 35 points too, but Mahomes right now is playing on a different level.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to give it to you this week. I mean, I think, Mahomes and Burrow's a great matchup. I like, no one's better than Jefferson, although he had an off week last week, but usually he's on fire. And then Pickens and Pittman versus Evans and Lazard. Maybe the slight edge goes to Hammond, but the thing about it is like, I have this feeling that Pickens is about to blow up. Like he's about to have his show up game. You know what I mean? It's about to happen. That happens this week.
And that's Monday night. Right?
No.
Monday night.
That could be his introduction to the world. Remember when Eric Miller called out the fact that Damian Pierce was going to have his blow up week. Like he just knew the matchup was right. They were going to have to lean on him to win, and he did. He blew up that week. I think this might be Pickens' blow up week, man.
All right.
Oh, that's funny. He's starting Pollard and Zeke Elliott. That's hilarious, dude.
I guess he's banking on like Thanksgiving running the ball just like all day.
That's funny. And he's benching. See, Swift is like the third running back in Detroit right now. It's so weird, man.
And Mixon, I guess, is injured. He's questionable, so that's probably what's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Swift. I don't know why he scored a touchdown last weekend, but it seems like he's in the doghouse or something. I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk completely underrated at his flex, and Peoples Jones too. I like both those guys at the flex. They're both really crafty, deep threat receivers, man. It's gonna be a good battle.
Yeah. Yep. And then last we've got.
Who's your pick for that?
Oh, I'm going with score speed. I think this is where the fraudulent first place ham and cheese.
Okay. I don't know who to pick. It's a coin flip to me. I'll just to make it interesting. I'll pick Hammond.
And then we got the 1-10 future pink plate provider, Eric Miller versus Coach Roach. Miller doesn't even have a wide receiver one set up. He's just in a he can put Gallup in there.
He can put Gallup in, and you know what? I really hope Roach just wins this, because if he doesn't, we're gonna have one of those like suicide postings. You know what I mean? Where it's like he's quitting the league and he's gonna burn down his house, and I don't want that. You know?
Yeah. Maybe this is where we change the email to Kim's email, so she gets the notifications.
Fields is injured. His shoulder has got torn ligaments.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't use either the throw. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's true.
They couldn't even say his throwing shoulder because he doesn't use either of them. They had to say his left shoulder.
Right. You know what? Roach should win it, man.
Roach. This is a game Roach should win.
Looking at the players, the matchup, he should win. I think Schultz is coming back strong. Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Devontae Smith, Gabe Davis. You know, it could be a Gabe Davis week. It's in a dome. That's a Gabe Davis type of environment.
It's the same dome they played in last time. This is crazy.
Yeah,
Buffalo's not playing the same dome.
It's wild. That's where they played last weekend because of the snow. Yeah. All right, so. Yeah, we got Roach winning that. So I think I think we can say you're definitely going to win. And I think we're going to say Roach is definitely going to win. Okay. So that puts you at 7-5, puts Roach at 6-6. If I lose, I'll also be at 6-6. And then
you'll have a favorable matchup over points, I think.
Yeah. My points are okay this year, which helps me. And then I'm going to be tied with either Creatine the Business. Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting couple of weeks. It's coming down the wire here.
I'm scared.
Yeah,
it's exciting. It's good stuff, dude.
So we got one more to pick. We got the games for tomorrow: Bills, Lions, Giants, Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm gonna put in my picks tomorrow morning for Miller. But looking at the games tomorrow, I already said I think the Cowboys are gonna crush the Giants. That's just my gut. I think the Giants are fraudulent.
Let's go Turkey Day. Tradition always starts.
Yeah, I was just pulling up the games. Buffalo Bills, Detroit. Okay. If I had to pick an upset, I would pick Detroit upsetting the Bills.
Interesting.
The Bills have been a little bit off the past couple weeks. I still think Josh Allen is playing with kind of an injured elbow that he's not talking about because he seems a little bit off. And the Lions at 4-6, they've won 3 in a row, and they're just going to air it out, dude. They're going to throw some picks. It's not going to be pretty, but I think they're going to put up some points. I think it's going to be a nutso kind of just crazy game. And I think that Lions are going to push the Bills, more than people expect. But if my kids' lives were on it, I'd pick the Bills. But if I had to pick an upset, I'd pick the Lions for tomorrow.
Yeah, I have the opposite. I think the Bills are just gonna get out in front early, and I picked 34-23 Bills over Lions. I think the Lions are going to get 2 touchdowns. They're going to get 3 field goals. So they're going to score, but they're not going to keep up with Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo's going to put up touchdowns. So that's what I think that we're going to see out of Buffalo. We're going to have 4 touchdowns out of Buffalo, a couple field goals. The difference is like it'll be up and down. Like I think that you're saying, but I think the Buffalo gets the TDs and Lions get the field goals.
That's fair. That's probably what's going to happen. I like the Lions. I'm kind of pulling for them. I don't know if it's the Hard Knocks that I watched at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Do you agree with me that the Cowboys are going to roll over the Giants?
Yeah, I have that as 37-24. I have that as Cowboys are just like they're gearing up for a run. Dak is back. They got 2 running backs. They got everyone seems to be healthy, right? They're playing at home, and I think the Giants, their points are only because it's garbage time. It's like 37-10, and then the Giants just get like 2 touchdowns on some bullshit, right?
I agree.
Prevent defense type thing. I think the Giants are just the Cowboys are on a roll. They're feeling themselves after kicking Minnesota's ass.
And they look good. Their defense looks really good.
Yeah. I mean, Micah Parsons is everywhere.
He's a beast. And he's playing kind of hurt. He seems at the end of every game, he seems really banged up. But at the beginning of the next game, he's on fire again.
Yeah.
Okay, Patriots and Vikings.
I have this as a defensive battle. I feel like Kirk Cousins, I'm not sure if that, I think what happened last week was, didn't the left tackle go out for Minnesota?
Yeah.
And that's when Kirk just couldn't do shit, right?
And the Dallas defensive line was just
and so I think that Belichick will know this and be like, okay, because Belichick loves nothing else and saying, okay, well, Jefferson, you get nothing. Kirk, what do you got?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I think that's going to be something where they just can't get it going, and they stack the line. Dalvin Cook gets nothing. Madison gets nothing. And then the Patriots just don't have a great offense, but I think they score a little more to win the game.
Do you see this as like a 16-14 kind of game?
Yeah, 17-13. That's what I predicted in my so I've got some across the board scores. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that the Patriots can put up a lot of points, so they're going to have to hold the Vikings to under 20 if they want to win, I think. Can they is the question. I think the Vikings are going to be really, really pissed. Like, I mean, after last week, it's like, but then again, you got Belichick, who's going to scheme him up really good, having watched the game film from last week. I mean, he's going to be all over that, So I agree. I think it's going to be like a 19-17 kind of win. And I think the Patriots are probably going to pull it off.
Yeah.
Unless their quarterback messes it up for him. Like if he throws a couple picks, which that's been the Patriots' shortcoming this year, is their quarterback situation. That the fans in New England, I mean, one mistake in the first quarter, they start booing. They want Zappe to come back in, or they want the other guy to come back in. So, but if the quarterback can just play within himself and not make any mistakes, I think the Patriots are going to pull it off.
Yeah. All right. Last question. I think favorite Thanksgiving food. What's the thing you get when you sit down? You go like, man, I've been waiting for this.
Okay, so my wife likes to make this special like cranberry casserole, like not a casserole, but like a cranberry dish with like the real cranberries and stuff. But what I really like is what I had when I was a kid. And I'm kind of talking quiet because she's like out there. I just want the cranberry sauce in the can.
With the edges on it from the can.
You just plop it out of the can and it's got all the ribs, and then you slice it along the edges. And like I like to mix that in with the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the corn and stuff. I just want the cheap can version, which we never have anymore. So I think I'm gonna go get some tomorrow morning just for me.
Man, that is so funny. I heard the same thing from a friend of mine whose grandmother, like when she was growing up, canned vegetables, that was prestigious,
right?
If you had canned goods, you were like, look, hey, I'm rich, I've got canned,
and I got like all stocked up and saved.
So that's what she likes for Thanksgiving. And now everyone's like, oh no, I got these from the farmer's market. And people from like grandparents are like, or even like us, like who had canned foods, like, all right, fuck that farmer's market shit, give me some canned stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it's the ham. If there's any kind of ham, I like it because then turkey's good, but like when you put that ham into everything, it just gives a different flavor,
Did you guys make a ham for Thanksgiving when you?
We've done it in the past. We've done ham and turkey.
Wow.
and that's always been like, because it's that bone and ham, like so, like it's a like the leg, like a leg, and you slice it, and there's the bone and the marrow and all that
That's
shit.
awesome.
Yeah. So we're not doing that this year, but that's my favorite.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many great dishes in Thanksgiving. You
Yeah.
know, like the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top. You know,
Yeah.
it's,
Oh
it's good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I don't know if it's a Maryland thing or if it's just like my German heritage, but we used to have a sausage and sauerkraut dish like on the
Oh
side.
yeah.
Yeah, that was always fun too.
Yeah,
But
we do
not
that.
every family does that.
Yeah, we do that. We do that. My mom would do that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
soft,
cool.
yeah, a little sauerkraut for same thing. The German heritage, man, comes out.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff.
Yeah,
Well, this was fun, dude. I was pretty tired when we started, but I'm glad we did it.
yeah. I'll put the video up, edit it, all that kind of fun stuff. And
Good, man.
I'll put this in the video. The guys should watch it in like 1.5 speed. It's
Oh yeah,
much better.
you got to get through some of this dialogue, you know, where we're just talking about Thanksgiving and
Yeah.
Dan can especially speed up certain parts that he may not want to hear.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
All right, brother. Well, listen, I think we should just end with this. It's coming close to the end of the season. The holidays are upon us, and I'll see you in the playoffs, bitches.
That's right. That's right.
All right, brother.
All right, Jesse. See you.
See you, man.